I got to get my iPad. I'm only going to have like 24 hours to make a picture.
Yeah, you're going to have to do it quick. Stay up late tonight.
Oh, my keeps tipping. Still not close enough. Why is this having such a hard time right now?
You don't have it all the way forward in this part.
Oh, should I?
You can. It will. I've got it. Most of the time I have to
Put your feet on it.
they go size 13 feet. All right, should we get started?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Welcome, everyone, to the Twaddling Along podcast. I am your host, Dan McBride, here today with my brother, Jake.
I have a New Year's resolution to come up with a good saying at the beginning of each podcast.
I love it. And it's just us two today.
It's just us two.
We are missing our youngest brother today. He is out and about and is unable to join us. We miss him. We hope him a speedy return to us because
we are going to be making fun of him a lot.
we are going to mock him incessantly during this podcast. And we miss his neuroses. Who else but Josh is going to be able to talk about how fearful he is of what we're going to be talking about today? Which is, we're just going to dive right in. Because it is the new year, we decided that we were going to look at New Year's resolutions. Specifically, we're going to be talking a little bit about the history of where New Year's resolutions come from, maybe a little bit of the psychology of the New Year's resolution, and we might even go into a little bit of what our New Year's resolutions are going to be this next year, because I have a whopping list, and I'm not kidding you, Jake. 65 achievable New Year's resolutions.
Oh my God. That sounds like a New Year's resolution in and of itself.
I don't think we're going to get through all of it, but maybe. Maybe we will, maybe we won't.
Maybe. Oh, shoot. I'm trying to connect to the Wi-Fi here and I'm having issues.
This is going to be another one of those episodes, just like the post-Thanksgiving episode. This is our post-Christmas party episode, which means that we're a little sleepy. We're well fed. We had Christmas morning casserole, which has just eggs and what else is in there? Bread,
sausage. Country gravy.
Oh my gosh!
And then I think I don't know if do they put biscuits?
I don't know. Whatever they put into it, I'm sweating. Do you ever sweat after you eat because you've eaten so much?
Oh, well, yeah, and then you can smell the food on your sweat.
You can just smell in your clothes.
And
afterward.
I love garlic.
Yes.
So much so that I could technically probably just eat the garlic at the clove, and I would be perfectly fine. But my wife does not like the smell of garlic, so it's one of those I have to plan accordingly, and afterwards I have to super spray it down myself with deodorant and. Then put Listerine and mints in my mouth. And
the other day I was making some Italian food at the house. And for some odd reason, I don't know why. We ate, but then we left for a little bit. I think we went to go see Christmas lights or something like that. And we came back. And when you've been away from a smell for long enough, I entered in the house and I thought if I was a vampire, I would be dead right now. I would be dust on the floor because I opened the door and the smell of garlic permeated through my skin.
See, and I love that smell.
Really?
Yes, it's just one of those. It's one of the when I go to work, my work's kind of in the middle of I don't know, a lot of buildings, and a lot of them are restaurants of various different types of foods.
Yeah, you've got a lot of foods.
And it's amazing because half the time that you can smell garlic steak, garlic bread, garlic something, and
garlic steak.
And with it being winter, those smells seem to stay down towards the ground level, so they're a lot more
Thank goodness for Utah's smog
Yep.
and its inversion, which just keeps all the smells near us all the time, including the worst smell of all, the Great Salt Lake. For those of you that have never been to Utah, you will not understand the stench that Great Salt Lake sometimes gives off. And it's kind of, to me, it just feels like it's random. Like sometimes you just don't notice it. And every once in a while, the smell of the Great Salt Lake permeates the entire valley and it just smells awful. It smells like decay and rot. So stay away. That's what I'm saying. Don't move to Utah.
And we're definitely not saying that for the house prices.
Yes. Nope. It has nothing to do. Has nothing to do with our property values and us
Or the
wanting
fact
to
that we don't
eventually
want
move.
you here anyway.
Now on to resolutions.
Do it.
I'm pulling from a couple different sources today. Mental Floss.
Mental floss.
Mental Floss is one of them by Ashana Yellen. This was actually just barely posted on Christmas Eve, and so I thought this was a timely thing, called Why Do We Make New Year's Resolutions? I also have, like I said before, Good Housekeeping, who has graciously offered 65 resolutions that we can make.
I already feel like I'm not going to hit any of them.
And then the last one is PAR. I don't know what
PAR. Par?
Yeah, par.
Is it like on par? Is it like par like golf par? Or
I have no idea what this is. I guess I should probably.
it
could be
hits
like
just
some
the right spot.
It could be like a cult or something. Creating connections.
People like people against everyone. People against race. People against.
Yeah, seriously. Some kind of like, what is par? Oh well, par. We believe in Cthulhu. Let's see. Why par? Meet the team. Hold on. I'm going to find out who these par people
They're
are.
probably like these amazing humanitarian people, and we're just making fun of them right now.
For more than 45 years, PAR has published trusted assessment instruments that help our customers in crucial work they perform every day. Our U.S.-based company is a talented group of professionals, so I still have no idea what they do.
It just sounds like they do analytics for data.
Yep, probably. And they have a interesting article that I found called The Psychology Behind a New Year's Resolution. But reading through it, it's definitely got more of like the pop psych feel. You know, like if you ever read any of like those sales books that are like the psychology of sales.
That's kind of interesting because, I mean, with stats behind you, I mean, usually that makes, well, I should say it makes for a good psychologist, but that doesn't always mean the case because I met plenty that were like, look at the stats. And you're like, those are bad stats.
Well, when we get into it, you're going to quickly see as I start reading some of the things they say, it definitely is like, it's very motivational. Like, get up and do this. You're doing great. But we're going to start with why do we make New Year's resolutions? Now, Jake.
Yes.
Why do we make New Year's resolutions?
Because we want to change, man. We want to get better.
Oh.
And we just ate so much food. And it just keeps coming.
And it's just sitting there.
And then the kids want to play, and you're like, I don't want to get up. I don't want to do anything.
And you're sweating. Oh. So, a New Year's resolution is a promise to yourself. That is what a resolution is. It's a literal promise to yourself. And I started thinking how weird that is that we have to promise ourselves things. Like, what is it in our psyche that we've literally separated ourselves into parts where we're like, oh, I promise you, body, I'll treat you better. We're all just one individual, and yet we've segmented ourselves into different parts. But that's not what I'm talking about when it comes to New Year's resolutions. The New Year's resolution is actually super, super old. It's been going on for a long time. They can trace the earliest recorded celebrations honoring the coming of the new year to 4,000 years ago in Babylon.
Wow, really?
Yes. It's called the Akitu Festival. And it actually still happens today. They're still in a Akitu Festival. And like most ancient societies and most people who have half a brain, they celebrated the new year at the coming of spring. So it was normally in the first March when they had the first new moon. That was their kickoff of a new year. And if you look kind of across all civilizations, that was normal. It wasn't until Julius Caesar was kind of like, I'm going to put it at January 1st, that the new year was dead center in the middle of winter.
Was that how you could make July right in the
I don't
heart
know.
of it?
Probably because he was.
No, I'm always blown by the thought that someone back in the time was able to figure out that there was such an idea as a year.
that is crazy to me too. I mean, I think that we naturally can understand cycles.
Yeah.
And so maybe they're just like, oh, it's cold. We're paying attention to the big bright thing in the sky. Eventually it's going to be big. We'll call that the new term or season. But
And that's what I want to know is like, was it just like they noticed that the sun was in certain positions and they recognized that there was a theme? And so they looked at it, because I look at that, and if we just went based off of like snowfall and stuff, that could be dependent on
it could
many
be
other
everything.
things. So I mean,
Oh,
they
yeah.
could have a different, but the fact that they kind of got it figured out and have a calendar system that worked
Yeah.
back in there, for me that's like I don't even, I would look up and be like, ooh, sun high.
It is really crazy how many of these ancient civilizations like developed really, really sophisticated astrology.
Yeah.
And astronomy. I mean, like they were paying pretty darn close attention. And I can't think of the last time I looked up into the sky and went, "Ooh, stars."
Yeah, and that's my thing is like you look at, and I think maybe it was because of, it might have been the theology that they believed in, that everything was, had to do with the astronomy,
Sure.
and so they were more
Their
likely to
gods
look.
are associated with the stars.
But I mean, you
everything,
look, the Egyptians had like a observatory
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh
and
yeah.
everything. So I mean, and they had some really detailed information, and I mean, we have what? I mean, you have Galileo. Is that who it was?
Uh-huh.
I mean, that had kind of noticed some things, and there's some big stuff that happened there. But it's like that was thousands of years after they had already been marking calendar points, the Mayans,
Yeah.
and were coming up with these complex calendars as well. And
eras. I mean, the Mayans wasn't just like calendars. It was literally like, this is what an era is. It's this many cycles of the moon, this many cycles of the sun, and it corresponds with this. So no, it's crazy.
it just blows my mind.
I will tell you that I am not that observant.
Maybe you need to make a New Year's resolution of observing the sun.
Going back to the New Year's resolution, during this Akutu festival, which
Akutu.
lasted 11 days. What's up
Ooh.
with the festivals lasting for like a good long time?
What happened to us not doing
I know,
that?
seriously, like 12 days of Christmas, the 11 days of Akutu. I mean, people were just partying constantly, and
Do we need to have the 15 days of Super Bowl?
uh,
Just eat,
worship
and eat, and eat.
worship your gods, Americans. The Super Bowl.
With everyone puts a golden football up on top of their a table or something if we all gather around.
This is my Super Bowl bush. During this time of the 11 days of the Akutu festivals, they had a whole portion where they would actually make promises. Some of these promises, they kind of had a theme. It was a lot about like returning goods, paying for services, very like society building resolutions, things that kind of kept things in order. But it was kind of the first time that is recorded that people were making a goal based off of a new year.
Question is, do they have research that says that they actually meant those goals?
So funny enough, yes. So part of what this Akutu festival was is that you would actually write down these goals and you would dedicate it to a sun god called Marduk. And that it was a way for them to actually, like, it was part of their worship. And so the god, or the priestess and priests of Marduk would actually keep track of these for you, and you would get into trouble with your god if you didn't keep your promises.
Did you
keep
lose
your
5
resolutions.
pounds? Well, I lost 4. That's it. We're getting the Switch.
Hi-ya!
That would definitely motivate some people. I would think. I would be motivated.
I would be motivated if I knew I was going to get whipped if I didn't lose my 5 pounds.
Ooh, motivation of fear.
There we go. Oh boy. Resolutions actually continued in the ancient world all the way down to the Romans. A lot of the Roman calendars actually didn't. That's when kind of the sync came off and it didn't go with what the sun was doing and what the moon was doing. So when Julius Caesar decided to make the change. Oh, here you go. So Julius Caesar made the change because the calendars were getting off. So he was actually bringing the calendars back into sync.
Okay.
Now,
is that why they added June and July as well, or was that done differently?
So. No, I think so.
Okay.
I think it had to do with them kind of just bringing everything back, because by that time you had thousands and thousands of recorded years of history where they were kind of skipping over that all-important leap day and leap year and all that.
So they were off by like a few years.
They were off by a lot. So Caesar declared January the 1st, the first day of the year, And it was to honor a god, Apollo. Oh, no, I'm sorry, Janus. The god Janus, who was the New Beginnings Janus, and they would offer a sacrifice and swear allegiance by promising something to this god Janus.
So the January means beginnings?
Yes, January is new beginnings based off of the sacrifice to the god Janus, which is where January gets its name.
Ooh, I learn something new every day.
Isn't that fun? So we've got the Babylonians who would beat you if you didn't keep your promises, and then you've got the god Janus that demanded a sacrifice of an animal and a resolution. So I'm not going to go find a lamb and cut it open and say, I'm going to do a gratitude journal this year. Nah! Poor little lamb is like, whoa.
Why did it have to be the lamb?
I don't know.
It could have been a pig. I promise to eat better. Kill a pig. When you know what I'm going to do next? I'm going to bury it with some fire. Does anything smell good?
Oh. So,
oh dear.
how many people actually make resolutions?
How many people make resolutions?
Yeah, what do you think?
I feel like it is a common cultural theme amongst Americans. I don't know worldwide because I'm trying to remember in the Philippines. I can't remember that being brought up a ton.
Resolutions?
Yeah, I'm trying to think if we ever had a talk about it. I mean, I know I would consider it and I would write my own resolutions down, but I don't remember really anyone else talking too much about them. It might be more common theme, but maybe they just were a little bit more private.
You know, it doesn't actually say like how worldwide resolutions are. They do say about 62% of Americans will make some kind of resolution, or at least have I think that the way they say it is a pressure to make a resolution.
Oh,
so 62% of people out there have said, hey, I need to do something. Why do you think it is? And this is something that's been driving me nuts. And it goes back to kind of like the human mind. Why do we wait to the new year to make a resolution? Because I do. I'm terrible at that kind of stuff where I'm like, I'm not going to start something until January 1st. And so the lead up to January 1st is bacchanalian. I mean, we're talking like gorging myself to a point of oblivion, so that if I would have just started when I said I wanted to start, which is most of the time like right after the holidays, I would have been like a week and a half less fat. So, but like, why the first? Is that just kind of like do you think it's I don't know, a cultural thing, or is there something that's built in us that we need a fresh start to start something?
I think it's there's a few different ideas that I have. One, I think it is a cultural pressure, and that most of the time, I mean, I know that in the past, to start conversations, some people, or during conversations, the idea of a resolution comes up, like, oh, what do you want to do this year? At the beginning of the year or something, and I sometimes wonder if people feel pressured into it, but I do think when you hit that new year, you think, okay, I have 365 days to make myself different. And for some reason, we like the idea of that start and that beginning, that time period. Instead of being like, oh, do you know what I want to do? I want to exercise more often, but I'm going to start in whenever. I'm going to start today, which is November or something like that.
Well, and for me, when I make goals, because, you reassess throughout the year, and you're always, at least for me, I am constantly trying to make new goals for myself. I always have to have a start time, and I like to coincide that with the beginning of something. So a lot of times, like if I'm going to start something during the middle of the year, I'm going to wait till a Monday to start it, or I'm going to wait to the first of the month to start it.
Yeah,
it's never just like an automatic start. I always have to have some kind of like start time.
It's easy math.
Is that what it? And then maybe that's what it is.
We don't like complex math.
Oh.
If I start on the 17th, that means I have to do some really weird math to figure out when I'm going to be able to stop.
And see, and that's another thing, is if we are setting a resolution with a definitive start date, doesn't that kind of imply that there's going to be an end date? And for a lot of the things that you make resolutions for, and we'll get into the list of 65 here in just a second, but there are things that, in essence, you shouldn't really want to stop.
Hmm.
Like healthy living. It's not something that I'm going to be like, January 1st, I'm going to eat healthy all the way till December 31st. And then after that, no worries,
Yeah.
or like the gratitude journal or whatever. I don't know. It's crazy.
Well, I mean, the idea of a goal is that it's accomplishable. And so I wonder if that often it's one of those that because it's accomplishable, once we hit the accomplishment, if we ever hit the accomplishment, it's kind of like, oh, sweet, we did it. Now I feel like a triple burr or something along those lines of, you know what? I'm going to clean my whole house. Oh, it's spotless. And then a week later, it's like, this is a disaster. What happened?
So how do you make a goal?
So
Not necessarily a resolution, but let's just say like a general goal. Or do you?
So I do tend to make goals. My goals are a little bit different because when I was going through my psychology program, and then also when um, I worked as an employment counselor for a while, and I
Mhm.
was helping people that were in crisis or going through really hard financial difficulties and stuff. So the idea of a SMART goal came up
Oh,
pretty frequently. You
and
know,
that is something that I want to get into, and I think it's a good time to get into it now. What do you mean smart goal,
well,
JP?
the SMART goal is it's specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, it's realistic, and it's timely.
Yep.
So I mean the idea that, like, I'm gonna lose weight. That's not a smart goal because that's not giving any indication of like how much weight do you want to lose? Like how are you gonna achieve it? Can you do it within a reasonable amount of time? Um
Yeah.
and so on. So I that's kind of how my approach has always been. So like for me, I'm going to go get my master's. Um and so I've looked at it, I've made goals, how much time I'm going to spend daily studying. This is what I'm going to study. Um this is how long I want it to take because it's one of those that you can actually accelerate through it however fast you want to go. And so I've always been that way. I mean,
You really have.
especially when it comes to education.
Yeah, I was going to say
I've
you're very organized in that way. I am not. Even when I did go back for my master's, it was haphazard at best. And I was just like, I'm just going to pour every ounce of effort into this for as long as I deem fat. And so I did, got it. But then when I crashed afterward, I
really
crashed
crashed.
afterward. I was like, for a month, I was like, I am not even going to look at a word.
Yeah.
Don't make me read anything. Don't make me read a menu at a drive-through. I want you to read it for me because I was just so done with any kind of learning. And I find myself running into that situation a lot, even when it comes to New Year's resolutions, where I am gung ho. I mean, I am all
Yeah.
in, gonna go 100%, and my burnout is quick. I'd like to think that I stick to things fairly well for the most part, but I will eventually have that time where I'm like, I don't want to do this ever again, ever.
I've worked so hard and I've exhausted myself.
Yep.
Well, I think that's what I would be curious to know how many people actually prepare weeks in advance for their New Year's resolution.
Oh, I don't know.
Because it's one of those, I feel like a lot of people, it's like the days after Christmas to the New Year that people start thinking about what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, but how would you like it if you like planned ahead? It's like, okay, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to accomplish. How am I going to do it? And you spend the weeks going over how you could do it. Um, I guess according to how you work. I mean,
Yeah,
because a lot of
yeah,
people, it's like they make the goal, but it's like, how are you going to do it? I'm going to go to the gym every day. Well, are you motivated to ever go out of the house? No.
yeah, exactly.
And it's like, well, are
It's
you
super
motivated to?
unrealistic. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's you have to do something. And I mean, we're going to talk about weight loss a lot because I think that tends to be probably one of the top
The top.
ones.
It is.
So.
It is the top one by far.
And I mean, it's one that you and I definitely we always. I think
100%.
every year we say, I want to do that.
Well, and what's funny is that there's some things that I've gleaned from like my New Year's resolutions and starting things that I still do to this day. Like I go to the gym often. Now I out eat myself in all of the fat burning that I'm doing at the gym, but it's something that I really like doing.
Yeah.
And that came because of a New Year's resolution. And so like there are positives that I've gleaned from those things, but the actual like resolution itself, that deterministic sentence that I will do this for my New Year's resolution, I don't know if I've ever in my life achieved.
Yeah.
Or if I have achieved, because I did have a New Year's resolution, a couple of years ago to go back and get a master's degree. And so I did achieve that, but the fallout of achieving that afterward, that burnout stage is pretty significant. I was just reading that 80% of people do not, they throw in the towel of their resolutions by February.
I mean, I remember when I would always be going to the gym. During January, you suddenly see the influx. And then usually it is around that's either the last week of January, the first week in February, that you would suddenly see gym numbers go back to normal.
Here is a quote from a trauma specialist, Britt Frank, who said, "We often set lofty goals for the future without honestly assessing why we struggled in the past. Without examining where we are resistant to change, the cycle of resolve, relapse, repeat continues year after year after year." And I have been wounded, Britt, whoever you are, Mr. or Mrs. Frank. How dare you? How dare you read me so well?
So what I'm hearing is that everyone should start off the new year by going to therapy. Because then you're able to work through those and kind of figure out how to move forward with some things and maybe some obstacles getting in your way.
So going back to the SMART and effective goal settings. So SMART, once again, for those that didn't catch it the first time, means specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. They say that you need to be incredibly specific, right, Jake? Like you want to kind of delve into it. So when you talk about I want to lose weight, that's so general that there's not really any specificity. What would be a better way of being specific for that goal?
For me, I would look at it and say, okay, I want to lose 10 pounds by April 1st, which would mean that every week in between then now that's like 16 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you would want to lose 0.6, 0.8 pounds.
And why would that be relevant to your goals?
And it's one of those that you look at and say, okay, that means that now I have a goal of, okay, how much do I need to worry about calorie-wise?
Yep.
What do I need to do exercise-wise? Things like that. Now, I say this, it hasn't worked for me.
Yeah.
This isn't something when it comes to especially this, I don't think that goal for me works. And this isn't going to work for everyone. Where for me, I would literally have to do a lifestyle change.
Yeah.
Like I would have to make multiple changes across multiple areas of my life in order to achieve that. It's not just like, oh, I'm going to go to the gym and exercise, or I'm just going to eat less food. It's like, no, I have to.
It's going to be like a whole lifestyle change.
Yeah, I have to.
Well, and I think that's something that's really interesting in that goal of I'm going to lose weight in the new year. Because it's not specific, because it's not measurable, it does require an almost complete lifestyle change that people are just not willing to do. Yeah. People, I mean, we are creatures of comfort and creatures of habit. And our habits and our comforts really, really kind of, they solidify our pathway in many different ways. Deviating from that pathway is super uncomfortable. And a lot of people don't want to do that because they've built their life around these habits.
Yeah.
I mean, when it comes to us, I know for a fact that if I went and said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cut back on my meat intake. I'm going to cut back on, my caloric intake for these couple of weeks. That's easy enough for me to say. But if I were to do that, what am I doing with my kids? Are they going to follow the same thing that I'm going to do? And it becomes difficult.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of the times, the habit's going to take you 30 plus days to accomplish. And those are 30 long days.
So here's a fun thing. Did you know that the person who came up with that 30-day rule of building a habit, his actual group that he was testing it on, the N was incredibly small.
Oh, how much was it?
I think it was 14.
Oh.
So it was,
I talked about this earlier.
So the study itself is not a great study. And there are now signs that people, and me and my wife were actually talking about this last night, people that are neurotypical, ADD, ADHD, have other things, OCDs, anxieties, whatever.
Yeah.
That 30 days might not exist for them. One of a really good example is someone who has ADD they could brush their teeth for a year nonstop.
Mm-hmm.
And that will, for them, actually not solidify any kind of routine.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the capability of building that kind of routine. So, anyways.
Oh, there you go.
A little off topic there.
I know. It's those stats. Sometimes you hear things and you don't look into stats. So,
well, yeah, and it's really hard. I mean, one of my biggest eye-opening moments is going back to our masters, since you're going into your masters, is doing a literature review on something that I was doing and walking away from that going, I've read news articles about some of these articles and realizing how absolutely blown out of proportion the news articles were.
Oh yeah.
Where it was like, oh my gosh, they didn't have any idea what was actually being said in these papers. They took one point of this paper and then blew it out of proportion. So
yeah. I say I took 3 statistical classes for my psychology program, all specific to behavior.
Yeah.
Studies and stuff like that. And without fail, my professor would always say, look up the newspaper articles source. And he says, without fail, a majority of them have something that has a sample size, which is how many people they tested it on, that's less than 20.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Sorry. Going back, that's when I said N, that's kind of the simplified term for sample size.
Yeah, it's how many people they tried it out on. Yeah. Which, I mean, that can be a good, strong beginning to see what you want to do next. Sure. I mean, because if you try it out on 14 people and nothing works, it's probably like, well.
Yeah, but it's not a good way to solidify an actual
No,
thought.
that's not to come out.
Yeah.
Well, what was the one? I was trying to remember one. I think my professor always brought it up, and I don't want to start anything bad, but like the power pose.
Oh, yeah.
That's the big thing. Like, always do the power pose in the mirror, and he pointed out that, like, statistically, like, there's hardly no evidence that that's actually what's happening, and so and again, that's one of those things where it might be more of a mental game with people, where it's like, hey, you know what, I'm feeling good because I'm doing this. It's not necessarily like, oh, it's this very act.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, a couple other things in setting goals that I actually found interesting. Number 1, focus on one behavior at a time. This is according to the PAR Inc. Again,
I like that.
That you don't actually try to build yourself a resolution that is overwhelming in multiple behavioral changes, which we talked about. Probably a good thing. You don't want to learn how to do a marathon if you don't know how to run or walk.
Or you don't want to get off the couch.
Share your experiences.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Now, this is an interesting one. They say that if you can build a support, whether it be family, friends, coworkers, whatever, and specifically people that might be sharing some similar goals, the chances of you being successful in your resolutions increases almost 5-fold. So it's a big, big difference.
I mean, you find that across the board in a lot of things, like when it comes to addiction recovery.
Oh yeah,
and stuff
Alcoholics
like that.
Anonymous. The whole idea is shared experience.
You have a big group, or
yeah.
And I know a lot of people. I mean, that's why Reddit's so popular with a lot of people, that they all go on and there's just a bunch of anonymous people talking together about a certain subject.
Yeah,
not always appropriately. Reddit,
very rarely appropriately.
But there are a few where they're talking together and they're doing some things. And it's kind of interesting that when you have that support, it does tend to feel lighter.
Sure. I think group thought is always it's a very interesting phenomena. The idea that shared thought with a group makes it stronger.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, as we just talked about, in our now modern culture, it can get a lot of people in trouble because you can find a group thought for any radical idea that you have. Radicalization is just group thought gone out of control.
Yeah.
And so, it's...
So you don't want to say the wrong thing because someone's going to flip out and another group's going to flip out.
Okay. Number 3, expect setbacks. I think very popular. I have a really hard time with failure.
Yeah.
In that, like, I either succeed or fail spectacularly. There's not... So I'm kind of all or nothing. And I'm trying to think, there was a really good kind of story about a guy who, I think he was a racer of some kind, and he said that one of his coaches he was kind of one of these all or nothing guys. One of his coaches came up and said, in a car, if you have a flat tire, do you deflate the other three? Or do you just change the tire? And I'm one of those that deflates the other three. If I have a setback, a lot of times, unless I'm, really trying to buoy myself up, it's the end. I don't want to continue onward.
Yeah.
So expecting setbacks, a little difficult for me.
I think it's difficult for everyone,
I don't like it.
especially when you hit it so hard
Oh yeah.
and then you question is like, well, can I do this?
And it's like a single setback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gain 0.5 pounds after losing 5 pounds.
Well,
oh my gosh.
I'll give you an example. So, latter 30s, almost going on to 40 here soon. And I had made a goal this year that I was like, I need to get back up to where I'm benching about 250 again. I want to be able to actually get back up to my regular 250.
Yeah.
And so I hit the gym really, really hard. I've been benching like a crazy person, not, going out of control like I'm still in my early 20s, but still benching pretty heavy and trying to be consistent, everything like that. And I tweaked my shoulder in July. And it took me a little while to recover from that. But I remember having the thought when my shoulder was tweaked right after I put the bar on that, oh, I'm done. This is it. This is the end. I'm sorry. And luckily, thanks seriously, thanks to my general support of my wife and just some other things, I was able to get back on. Eventually got to where I was doing that again, but that inclination for me to be like, I'm done.
Yeah.
By one single setback is a very real thing. So, all right, shall we break out the long list?
Oh yes, let's hear some of these.
Okay, number 1. Start a gratitude journal.
Ooh, nice.
So I would love to do journaling more.
Me too.
I'm terrible at it. Everybody from, Good Housekeeping, which is where I'm reading this from, but I mentioned in another podcast, I've been reading a lot about Stoics. A lot of the Stoic writers say that you need to keep a journal. Our church says that journal keeping is a really important thing, and it's just been something that I've not been good at. And so a gratitude journal, would be a good thing.
Yep. I mean, in finding the positives in difficult situations tends to be a lot more worthwhile.
Sure. Count your blessings. Make time for family. Also probably a pretty good thing.
Yeah.
How do you build a resolution around that, though? How do you make that a SMART goal? It'd be like, I'm going to spend 30 minutes with my child Monday through Friday.
And that's the difficult thing where for me it would be, okay, I'm going to put my phone in a basket next to the door when I walk through from work, and I'm going to spend the next 30 minutes talking to my children and seeing how their day went.
Oh, I'm going to steal that.
So it's just one. That's my idea of what you could probably do with it.
Excellent idea. Be more mindful.
No, I don't want to.
I hate this.
Be more mindful.
Well, I hate mindful people.
I hate all of you.
No, I hate the idea, because to me, like that right there, when someone says, well, just be a little bit more mindful, what does that actually mean?
And that's, I think it could be any number of things. You could be like, be more empathetic. Okay, why didn't you say that? Be more mindful. Well, what? I'm a big lumbering person. I can accidentally hit someone. Be more mindful.
Like, do you want me to think about it more before I hit you in the face? Like, what are you saying to me? Like, I don't understand the be more mindful. And it's something, it's super in the pop culture right now. I'm hearing being mindful about everything. There's mindful eating, there's mindful sleeping, there's mindful exercise, there's mindful this, there's mindful that. And
be mindful of your mind.
Yeah, I just, ugh.
Yeah, it's one of those I look at and I say, I understand what people are trying to get at, but at the same time, it's one of those that's like, are you content communicating? It's like, is the person that's saying be mindful, are they saying you should know what I want?
Uh-huh.
And it's one of those, well, could we talk about that? Could we communicate about that? What are you looking for?
Yeah. When it comes to and mindful eating and mindful sleeping, I am aware of what I am doing. I am not as mindless as you think I am. I don't know. It just rubs me the wrong way.
So
No
everyone,
offense, you help
all future
self-help guru,
conversations,
but
if you say be mindful to Danny,
I will.
there will be
I'll
backlash.
mindfully kick your butt.
That's right.
Cook new foods.
I've been trying this year.
Have you?
Yeah, it's been fun. It's one of those that sometimes it turns out great. Other times you're like, where did I go wrong?
This is one of the things I love cooking. Like I love cooking. The majority of the time I'm cooking dinners and I'm trying a bunch of new things. But with kids, it is a beast.
Yeah, and that's why my wife and I, over the last, I would say, month and a half, we've turned to the slow cooker,
Oh.
where a lot of it's just drop and let it go.
Sure.
And we've tried out new recipes, and it's been pretty sweet. Because it's one of those, I mean, sometimes the kids don't like it, but it's one of those that you don't have to do a whole lot.
Well, and I hate to say it, but like there are some times where I want something like a pesto pasta or something, and I know my
Yeah.
kids just hate that stuff.
Yes.
Where I'll just cook them something different. It's probably not good or teaching them anything. So
Well, I watched one guy. What he does is he makes food that has ingredients that can be separated. Like, so ingredients that he's able to make his favorite, but that has ingredients that can be separated that his kids will eat.
oh, see, and I've done that.
And
Where-
that's hard. I don't know how to.
Well, with
accomplish
the
that.
basil pasta, I understand. Like that's literally what I have to do. Sometimes it's I will cook the pasta, and I'll be like, okay, I have to set aside some of this cooked pasta and just make buttered noodles for my children. And I'm going to
butter
make
noodles.
It is really good.
I love butter
Like
noodles.
good buttered noodles with a little bit of salt.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, we made for the first time. My wife yesterday, we made. She actually made homemade Alfredo
ooh,
by putting some
like
ingredients.
Parmesan and
Yeah, and she did it in the slow cooker. And what we did is we used it as poutine. So I know people at poutine are like, that's not what it is, but we used
every
it as
Canadian everywhere is
yeah.
just like having a heart attack.
I mean, talk about healthy. Yeah, let me a bunch of Alfredo chicken on top of fries.
My heart stopped,
delicious. but it was one of those that, like, after we got done and we made it, it was like, holy crap, that's way better than any of the other Alfredo sauces we tried. So
well, and that's something that I've discovered is one of the things that I've done is I've tried to take things that I would normally buy from the store and make it from scratch.
yeah.
So like spaghetti sauce, for example.
Oh,
Like,
I have a hard time. with
I have gotten to a point now where I will make spaghetti sauce, and if I go back to the store bought stuff, I hate it because it's
that. You
sweet.
can taste it.
It's sugary. It literally tastes almost like a sugar.
Yeah.
Or like
Taco
taco
seasoning.
seasoning.
That's what we've
a
done.
huge one for me, and not even just taco seasoning, but just tacos in general. Like I've tried different chilies. I've tried different ways of slow cooking the meat, and actually looking up like good Mexican or Latin recipes and trying something instead of just going to the white man taco. That's
Oh, see, and I'm still stuck on the white man. I mean, we
Don't get me wrong.
make our own seasoning now that's a little bit more authentic, but
I love a white man taco.
we do it with turkey meat to be a little more healthy. But I'll be honest, it actually is better for my stomach. If I use the turkey or the store bought stuff, it always seems to affect me a lot more.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, it's awesome. I love it.
So there you go. Add cleaning tasks to your calendar.
See, and I've read books on this, and I've wanted to do it, and I'm just not good at doing that. Because usually, what is it like Saturday morning? Okay, what are we gonna do? Everything. Let's get everything done.
Yeah, everything done.
Yeah, it's one of those. I've talked to my wife, and we've done it at little splurts at a time where it's worked out well. Where you take 15 minutes, maybe around like 6:30.
Yeah, they call it the 15-minute reset.
Yeah, and you just
Yeah.
go and you just clean up as much as you can. That way, on the Saturday, you could just focus on scrubbing, or you could even spend the 15 minutes like, I'm gonna go scrub the toilet.
Yeah.
Or things like that. And I know it's awesome, and I know it works. I just don't do it.
Well, I in my old age, I've become very calendar dependent. So I have a very
Because we're forgetful.
seriously little early onset dementia or something going on. But so I have never even thought about this. I think it's kind of a cool idea.
That actually is something I think we'll look into. I'm sure it might be in there, but doing like a big cleanse where you like get rid of a bunch of unnecessary things.
You know, these are very general. The next one, learn to love vegetables.
See, and I like vegetables.
I don't mind vegetables either.
Yeah. My kids, well,
Now, probably I could cook vegetables in a healthier manner.
I mean,
I'm kind of like the Julia Childs mentality where it's like, oh, I'm going to have some broccoli with butter. And then she like puts in like 5 tablespoons of butter and
yes,
just stews it.
and just lets it go.
So I could probably do a little better and just learn to actually love like more of the raw or like the lightly cooked vegetables.
See, yeah, I'm not good with raw, but I can do like if you cook it in a good seasoning.
Yeah.
I feel pretty good.
We've
about
been doing a lot of roasted vegetables,
it. Oh yeah,
which is really good. So a little olive oil and some seasoning on top and
Then
just
you can
chucking it in
just,
the oven. It's surprising to me how good that actually is. Because I remember as a little kid, like just despising vegetables.
well, ours were always microwave
Yeah,
or can based, which I mean they weren't bad. I got used to loving them, but
sure.
it is always fun when you get actual vegetables that have not been put in a can or a bag, and you can just cook them straight.
Yeah. Yeah, well, which is what I do. Like I will still stick with like the corn and peas for the kids because they love the corn and peas, and the easiest way to cook those so you're not sitting there shelling or shucking the corn or everything is still
Ugh.
the frozen bags. But okay. Schedule an annual health screening.
Oh, see, and I want to do this, but I'm always scared to do this.
Terrified.
Yeah.
I think we have what do they call it? White coat syndrome.
Yes.
Like major, where I get horribly anxious about going, not even just to like even to a dentist. I don't like dentists, I don't like doctors because even though I feel like I'm doing good, the thought of them telling me that I'm not doing good terrifies me.
Well, and every time I do the blood work, you like sit there and you're like, what are they gonna
Yep,
find? Am
yep.
I diabetic? Yeah, the dentist is the worst for me. I have a really hard time. I go every 6 months.
Good for you.
Do not like it.
I don't think I've had a cleaning for about a year and a half.
See, and I
Not good.
me and my wife did that for a brief moment, and then I went back, and since then it's just easier on my mouth when I go.
Well, good for you.
Then I'm not in severe pain for days.
All right, preventative exercise for your brain.
Now,
Just as you
what
were-
do they mean by preventative?
So, just as you would exercise your body, your brain is equally as important. This could include things like mind-boosting games. It could include things like puzzles. Anything that will help you have a feeling of reward while helping to curb negative feelings and activating your brain, even including simple math problems.
See, and I love educating myself, and I don't know if that would be considered on that, but I love reading books and finding out more details on certain subjects, which is why I'm going back to get my master's. But
Yeah, I'm a constant reader. I think that all of us are pretty big readers, but I love a good book.
yeah,
I think I need more active because I would consider like book reading or learning pretty passive in some cases. I mean,
Yeah.
where you're going back to school, that's a whole different story because you're going to be tested on it. You have to recall. But if I'm just reading a good old tome, it's not going to do a whole lot of good for me unless I'm trying to actively do something. So
with it.
I know that Dad is a crossword junkie, and I've heard that's good for your brain. I don't know if that's true or not, but
My vocabulary is terrible.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing I've always wanted to improve on is because there's moments where I'll be talking to people and I want to say something smart and the word just does not come.
oh, I'm terrible. At
and
that.
then I say something that is not
Stupid.
anywhere close. Well, you're trying to like define an object and you just end up saying thing. And you're like, that didn't work out.
I literally told my son yesterday that he needed to go get the thing from the thing. And luckily, bless his heart, he knew exactly what I was talking about and got the thing from the thing. But I thought, this is terrible. Like, have I compartmentalized my vocabulary down to thing and thing? So, all right, here we go. Drink up. Specifically,
Alcohol.
hydrate.
Oh.
It's especially important that you get
Speaking about
that you hydrate and get sleep. That's very important. Especially after a night of disrupted sleep. Studies have shown that you are more likely to be dehydrated. And so down some extra water. Remember that you can have too much water that can muck with your gut, but water is important.
See, I drink a lot of water because I love water.
Sure.
I'm one of those weird people that people are like, water doesn't have taste. I'm like, oh, it tastes amazing. What are you talking about?
I think we were raised with that though.
Maybe that's it.
Because Dad is a water drinker.
Yeah.
And like our dad used to fill up water and put it in like the freezer or the fridge
Mm-hmm.
specifically for him when he got home from work because he
And
likes that really cold.
We'd still it.
We would still it,
And
and
he-
then not. And the worst thing is
we wouldn't refill it.
we would put it back with like maybe a sip of water left, and so he would come home and just the disappointment. Yet he never complained.
He never did. I bless him because I complain to my kids all the
I
time when they
would-
don't do things.
I would be yelling. I would be demanding answers. I would be sending people to their rooms and to corners.
Dad's a better man than we are.
Oh, that's nice of him. Let's see. Consider therapy, like you were talking about. Specifically, we all lean on friends and family for support. But is this the year that you finally take a move to unpack your mental health? You don't have to leave the house to start, and some of the best digital offerings are absolutely free. I would actually say this is a strong contender for my favorite thing on this list. Because I do think that there's a lot of people out there, and it's not for everybody. I am not one that's going to say that everybody needs therapy, though I'm leaning more and more that that's
I
probably Jake will. But I think that there are a lot of people out there that could use a little bit of help.
Yeah.
And that includes going and talking to someone that's outside of your social circle.
Yeah. There are a lot of people that say, well, I have my spouse
Uh-huh.
or my stuff. And it's like, but be honest. Can you share everything and not make your spouse concerned? Or
Sure.
like, do you have a friend that like, can you truly share everything? Or with a therapist, I mean, yeah, it's a stranger, but there's someone who's been trained to be able to listen,
Yeah.
to be able to ask the right questions, and to help you process different things.
Well, and I think that's the big thing for me is that I actually do feel pretty comfortable that I could probably share with my wife most everything, but I don't think that she has the tools, nor do I have the tools to help her in all things.
Yeah.
You know, and someone who has gone through the schooling, who understands kind of the ins and outs, is going to be able to help me to build up a coping mechanism or a skill.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even I wasn't fully trained to be a therapist. Someday I say I'm on a temporary hiatus right now, but I learned the tools. We talked a lot about them. I've been able to use them, and yet still having that moment to talk to a therapist is important. It's like I understand some of these tools and even some of the tools that they say, but being able to talk with someone and process that still just as important.
Yeah, 100%. Lift weights.
I want to. I don't want to.
I love it.
I want to, but I don't want to.
See, this is one of those things that it's one of the very few things in my life that I really like doing. And once again, it doesn't do me a whole lot of good because I don't eat healthy enough that it's going to make me all muscly and stuff. But, oh man, you give me some weights on a bad day, it is a good way to just blow the stress out by lifting heavy things.
See, and I did it all throughout high school and post high school and after my mission, but I don't know. Right now,
it's hard.
It's finding time.
That's the hardest thing is finding the time to do it. It's killer. And, you know, busy young families that we have, it's doubly hard.
Yeah. Well, my son keeps coming up. He's like, Dad, when are you going to go lift weights? Dad, when are you going to go lose weight? Dad, when can you get skinny?
Your kid's going to turn out to be like some super athletic kid.
Oh, right now he's really gunning for it. But the problem is his mother and I aren't. Julie is. I mean, Julie was a swimmer.
Yeah,
and so I shouldn't say she wasn't athletic. She was a super swimmer. So so she looked fantastic and still does. But
Gross.
For me,
Ew.
not so much.
Okay. Learn or hone a new skill. This could be something as easy as trying to take a masterclass course. I wonder who's sponsoring this. Oh, look, masterclass. Or it's something as easy as, let's see, just picking up a guitar and trying to figure it out. Learn or hone a new skill. Any new skills that you're wanting to hone, Jake?
I don't know if it would be considered a new skill, but I am attempting to hone additional concepts in art.
Oh, sure.
And that over the last year, last year I wanted to really try out caricatures.
And you've done good.
And it's been fun because, it's something new. It's it's wacky, it's kind of fun. But one thing I want to hone better is actual realistic anatomy that then I can use as reference for future other things. Like understanding anatomy can help you through a large variety of different art styles and stuff. So that's one thing I've always been really interested.
Look at you.
I know. I love it.
Me, banjo.
Oh, you better play a banjo.
I've had a banjo for a year, and I've learned how to kind of pick it up and do.
Wait,
a
you've
little
had a
bit
banjo?
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Yeah.
I did not know
I've
that.
got a banjo at the house.
If I wanted to learn a new instrument, I would love the bagpipe, but
it would drive people nuts.
Yeah, it would. I would have to go out in the woods.
Yeah, I would. I think that this year, and that's going to be actually be one of my resolutions, is to probably take a course in banjo playing. Because I've picked up a couple instruments. Like I'm a halfway decent guitar player. I'm a pretty good piano player, but to actually like learn something new like the banjo, I think would be fun.
Yeah.
So
well, that's fun.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Bring fun lessons into your home, especially with your children. Try to incorporate STEM activities into fun playtime. I don't know what that means. Science.
That's the
technology.
science. Yeah, the little put together projects and things like
Sure.
that. I'm pretty sure.
I've got enough Legos in my house. I know that half of the STEM programs in the state of Utah are Lego building, so I'll just.
I bought STEM stuff last year for my kids, and they pulled it out, threw the pieces everywhere, and now they're just kind of scattered about, and I have no idea how to put them all together. So that's how mine went.
All right, stop procrastinating on a tough decision. This is a hard one for me. I like to procrastinate.
See, and this is the one where I hate traveling.
Uh-huh.
And my wife really wants to go somewhere warm, so we're looking at going to Hawaii.
Yes.
And this is like the hardest thing for me because I'm making decisions that I don't like to make.
Good for you.
Yeah, it's one of those things where for other people it's like, what the heck is wrong with you? Traveling is fantastic. For me, it's
It does baffle me sometimes when you say that you don't like traveling.
It's one of those. I think it's just previous experiences. When I was coming home from the Philippines,
Sure.
Our flight got canceled and we got thrown somewhere, and then they put us in the wrong terminal, and then we had to find our way around, and then we got taken to a place that turns out that our flight that they had planned we missed completely, and then we had to fly all the way over to New York to get back to Utah. That just ruined me from flight forever.
Oh.
And now we're trying. I mean, I have to pay an arm and a leg for it, which also is a little.
Yeah, but just think about when you get there.
Then I have to get a car, and then I have to drive over to the location, and then
getting a car is the easiest thing in the world. You know, I when it comes to procrastination, I am a professional. I like to procrastinate, and I do procrastinate tough decisions, like decisions that I know I have to make, which is not good because I'm a boss, and those I've had to learn over time, especially in my professional life, that you can't procrastinate. You kind of just have to, you bite the bullet and you do it at that moment, and then it's done and it's over with, and you can kind of move on. But
yeah,
I'd like to take that mindset that I've developed at my work
and use it elsewhere,
and use it in my personal life.
Yeah, and I would agree, because I there's been moments where I've procrastinated something, maybe even forgotten something, which is why we keep an active calendar, which is important.
Dementia. Okay, here's one. Decorate with family history. In happy and long-lived cultures, people often display items from their family's pasts. And this is from Dan Buettner, who, if people don't know who Dan Buettner is, he's that Blue Zone guy. Have you heard of the Blue Zones?
No.
We'll have to do that sometime. The Blue Zones is a really interesting concept, that there are certain cultures that live a lot longer and a lot healthier than other cultures. Anyways.
Ooh.
But he says they remember and honor where they come from. We find that in happier cultures around the world, folks feel like part of a continuum. And so a lot of times, they say that decorate with your family history. Hang up your grandparents' wedding portrait. Put meaningful memorabilia on the shelves. Don't just store them away. If you've got things, make sure that they are out.
So and I think we have that here at our parents' house.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, there's a lot of things, and we talk about. I mean, because of our religion, we talk about family history a lot.
A lot.
So
yeah, a huge amount. And I think that's something I really like. I like the personal stories. What's funny is the family history part of it, the finding of the names and everything is not my favorite.
I'm not good at it.
Josh luckily is very good at it, and so we just kind of shuffle it off to him.
And then he
since he's
shares stuff.
And since he's not here to defend himself, he does it so good that he'll do it forever.
Yep. We'll follow up with him.
Yes, and then we'll go, "Hey Josh, what did you do today? Great job." But I do like I love being able to tell my kids about my grandparents or my great grandparents, or being able to share stories. We're a big storytelling family. We gather together, and that's what we do is we talk and we share stories. And so it's a big, important thing.
Yeah, that's what kind of got us started with this podcast.
Exactly.
Because everyone's like, you should do a podcast because you guys tell funny stories. No, not funny. Weird experiences that have led us to this moment.
Okay. Give yourself a new look.
Oh, I should shave my beard, but I have a baby face.
No, thank you. I'm going to have to shave my beard here soon. Darn it. I know, seriously.
I don't have to do anything.
Do one thing at a time. So make yourself a to-do list and then focus on that one part at a time. Stop multitasking. It doesn't work.
Yep. The brain is incapable of multitasking. It's a lie. We can jump between tasks at a very high speed, but it's not doing them simultaneously.
I can't jump between tasks at high speed. It takes me a long time. Do you know why? Dementia. I've got to stop making jokes or I'm going to get dementia for real. Like, this is going to be karma.
Yeah, that's right.
So this is going to be me listening back to these old podcasts because I can't remember anything.
You just got to keep working on your that brain feeding that they talked about earlier.
And last but not least.
Have we already gone through the 60?
No.
Oh.
But this is the last one for this podcast because we've reached the end.
No, son of a gun.
Make your bed every morning.
I've tried this. It's a little hard sometimes.
I've been doing it pretty consistently for like the last year. There is something about it, and I hate saying that. Because making your bed, it seems like the biggest waste of time because you're just going to lay in it.
Yeah.
But there is something that is calming about entering into a room where everything is in its place.
Well, and the blankets are all in the correct order. You're not shifting them around, trying to figure out how to get them in the right spot.
It is nice. It is like to a point where it's really, really nice. The other thing is I've always had this weird panic in the back of my mind that, well, what if someone comes over to my house and they see my disorganized chaos self? Like, what are they going to think? And I just think, oh, well, if my bed's made, they'll at least think something in my life is going good.
Welcome to my house. You want to come see my bed?
Just step over the mounds and mounds of toys everywhere. Don't mind the dishes. Mess. Exactly. All right, Jake. Well, we've made it through. Let's end it with one resolution you're going to do next year.
See, now I'm being pressured, so I'm not going to finish it. We didn't get to talk about that.
But you're communicating. This is your.
Is this my support?
Your support.
This is what people are going to follow up with me on.
Exactly, and this is also your almost your ancient Babylonian thing. So people will know to whip you if you don't.
Oh, that's right. Let's see. I guess my goal, and I talked about it a little bit, but I am planning this year to finish my master's degree. I've planned it out. I feel pretty confident that I can get it done within a year. But to make it more measurable and a little bit more thing, I'm going to work on finishing at least 50% and making it worthwhile. Because the nice thing is my master program, all the stuff I'm learning, I'm going to be able to take with me into work, which is great.
Great, yeah.
So...
Because your master's program also has like certifications and everything.
Just one, and it's optional. I'm gonna probably get it anyway.
Sure.
Because it's project management, but yeah. So that's my main. That's my main goal. Is I'm gonna work on that because that's. I mean, it's something I didn't think I was gonna need to do because for everyone that doesn't know me, I've gone and done way too much schooling. I have an associate's, 2 bachelor's degrees. I have multiple certifications. It's one of those things where I always at the very end of one, I'm like, oh, I'm never doing that again. And then like 6 months later, I'm like, I'm bored. So
you're an eternal student.
I am. I love the idea of study and learning. So
Okay, very good. I will tell you, and I'm going to go back to the banjo for a second. I am going to make a resolution that by the end of 2024, and I will have learned 4 songs on the banjo.
Do you know what songs you want to learn?
I do. I do know the 4 songs. Now, don't ask me their names right now because I have dementia. Put it in the calendar. No, I am going to every 3 months. I am going to learn 1 song, and then I am going to actually perform it. Not here. Well,
You don't want to perform it on the podcast.
Here. I will perform it on the podcast.
You need to find out. You need to find out how to perform our main theme.
There you go. Our one that I've licensed.
Yes.
Yes. Excellent.
Well, we'll do that. No, you need to do the banjo twang every time we do a hit and a miss with a joke, which is for every single.
I do
one.
actually have the sound effects that we've never used. I need to start using those. But
like, is it one that you do while you're doing it, or
yeah, absolutely.
'Cause
here, I'm gonna do one right now.
Are we licensed to use this?
Yeah, it's Creative Commons.
That sounds like the beginning of a Seinfeld episode.
Yep, it's a Creative Commons thing that I've put on it. So we do have those on there. But I will do it for real. A real banjo twang in the middle. I like that idea.
We'll do that. Just a banjo twang or... Yeah, I don't know.
With that, thank you for listening to us today. As always, please leave your comments and everything under the episodes on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And if you have any suggestions, or if you want to keep us on track for our resolutions and want to ask us how our resolutions are going, you can always comment on our Facebook and Instagram pages. I will do a much better job at updating those. That's my fault. That's New Resolution 2 probably, is do a couple more things with the podcast. So
I will try to improve the artwork.
And with that, thank you so much. Have a wonderful new year. Hopefully your resolutions are good. Next time, which is in 2 weeks, we will have Josh back. We will be back as a full-strength trio. We are looking forward to that. Thank you.
Is that the history?
It is the history, and I think...
Am I in charge of it?
It's either you or Josh.
Let's
Someone's in charge.
Because we started over, didn't we?
Yes.
Let's see. So I did the history the last.
Yes. So I think that you are human condition.
Oh, shoot.
Yep. You are human condition because we always move forward.
I'm going to talk about how crazy everyone is.
I like it. We'll see y'all.